preliminary budget 2027.
Yes, this is just going to be a short update for you all on the FY27. I don't have a presentation for it. Just wanted to give everyone a brief update. So Dr. Johnson and I have started meeting with the county administrator and the finance director to discuss this current FY26 budget, and then also to begin discussions regarding the development of our FY27 budget. We are closely tracking and we're analyzing the current budget so that we can make adjustments for next year. I'm also comparing to FY25, since that is an entire year that I can go back and look at expenditures using FY25, 26 data in order to begin putting together an FY27 budget. The governor's preliminary budget was released on December 19th. We are using this information to begin building this budget, but we know it's going to change a few times before we finalize, but we will use this. So I am closely monitoring that information, continuing to receive more information about that budget, including different things that are proposed, like salary increases and so forth. Our cabinet team will meet next week to review all principal and department budget requests. We will add items to our capital improvement plan that need to be added to that, and we will prioritize these budget requests, and we will then bring to you guys at the next work session, which will be at the next meeting.
Thank you. Any questions on that? All right. Good. Our VSBA policy updates, Ms. Clark.
Good evening, Board. You received information regarding various policy updates that we have this evening. The majority of them were just simple wording changes, updating some language and so forth. We do have two that will be removed due to the consolidation of some policies, and sort of matches back along with the VSBA. And then we do have one new policy for advanced or accelerated mathematics that we've implemented along with the VSBA policy update, so that we can move forward for the next school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our school performance and support framework presentation, Ms. Hamill.
Good evening. As you all know, I believe, we did not get state results along the same timeline that we have historically. I know Dr. Aldifer was updating the board on that periodically. The state results came out December 5th. We've had some public celebrations between then and now, but I want to go through some of the details with you all. All right. So it's a new system this year, and that was really where the delays came from, honestly. It was approved in August of 2024. The system is referred to as the School Performance and Support Framework. The information and training around this was provided to school divisions last year in preparation for the rollout of the new system. I believe it was presented to you all in July, perhaps, and administrators were getting developed on it last year as well. This is actually the first year of the new system being applied to our performance data. And as I said, there were some struggles. There was some initial data that came out in November. No classifications or designations for schools at that time, but just some raw data. A number of divisions went to VDOE, the superintendent's group went to VDOE and indicated that there were some errors. So ultimately what VDOE did is they sent the data out for third-party validation before releasing final reports. And those final reports were released in early December, and that's when we received them. So the new system does a nice job of separating accreditation from accountability. Accreditation is rooted in standards of quality and standards of accreditation. And you'll see that graphic. This is straight out of VDOE on the right-hand side of this. And then the accountability side is more student outcome based. Things like SOL test performance, growth from year to year, graduation rates, etc. That's the accountability side thing. And that's going to be most of our focus this evening. This is a graphic. As part of this system, every school will be given, or has been given, a designation of distinguished, on track, off track, and needs intensive support. If you look right underneath those headings, there's point values associated to each. This is a weighted system, and through the various components, schools are assigned a score. mostly out of 100, though at the secondary level, you'll see some of the high schools actually exceeded that 100 level score. So this is sort of the description of each of the designations and the scores that are associated with them there. This is just something that's interesting, this bottom part that I highlighted. If there's a federal designation assigned to a school, comprehensive support and improvement, targeted support and improvement, or additional targeted support and improvement, and these are all rooted in underperforming subgroups. Your students with disabilities can be economically disadvantaged, et cetera. If you have a subgroup that's underperforming, you'll be given a designation. And if you're given a designation, regardless of your framework score, you're automatically going to be bumped down a level. You'll see that that's happened in Page County. So I just wanted to call attention to that. So the old system versus the new, right? We're used to talking in a pretty straightforward manner about pass rates by test. And now we're really talking about framework scores and indicators. The old system did not have a weighting to it, and this system does. There's various components that have a percentage weighting, and then within that mastery component, there's weighting for student outcome or performance on SOL tests. For example, a student who passes Pass Advanced, that one Pass Advanced is weighted at a 1.25 index, where a pass is a 1.0, and it tiers down from there. So there's a general weighting percentage-wise, and then a weighting within that mastery component as well. Performance categories, mastery, growth, and readiness is the new terminology that you'll become accustomed to, and we've become accustomed to with this. And then we're ranked, as I shared on that initial graphic, by framework score, those rankings distinguished on track, off track, needs intensive support. And the rankings align with federal identification. And then that subgroup performance that I mentioned on a previous slide as well, TSI, targeted support and improvement, ATSI, which is additional targeted support and improvement, and CSI, which is a comprehensive support and improvement. And as I said, today we're going to focus on the accountability side of things. So under the new system, everyone gets an accreditation designation, fully accredited, conditionally accredited, or accreditation denied. And every school gets a framework score, and then they get a category based on that framework score, a performance category. And then again, those federal designations based on subgroup performance. So let's talk weighting before we get into the specific school by school. Elementary schools are weighted 3 categories: mastery, growth, and readiness, right? Mastery is reading performance, math performance, science performance. Growth is progress in reading and math. And I apologize, under mastery is also EL performance, EL progress, students who are learning English language. And then under readiness, we're measuring student progress in reading and math compared to prior years and this year. And there's chronic absenteeism is part of that as well.
But just what are the percentages? Is that to 100?
Yeah, so
5% of 100?
65%, yep,
Okay.
is mastery, 25% is growth, and 10%. So you total that up and it's 100%.
Right. So then they're subdivided as they blow
Yes.
them out? Okay, got it.
Yep. I've got that further broken out by school. It may help to see it in a little bit of a different way that I've created as we move through the presentation. But the weighting by level, there's elementary weighting, there's middle school weighting. You'll see those percentages change a little bit, and the criteria within them change a little bit as well. It's, the mastery component is always reading, math, science, and EL. The growth component is pretty straightforward as well. Once you get down to readiness across the 3 levels, that's where you see some variation, right? So for example, middle school, there's an advanced coursework component that's part of that. And then there is the Career 5 C's performance tasks as well. This is the high school. You'll see mastery drops down to 50%. Readiness is there. And you'll see that includes graduation rates and the 3E framework that in employment, enrollment, and enlistment that we get points for our high school seniors.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
What's the rationale for the different percentages? Because they're pretty, I mean, they're stark. Some of
How
them.
they
Yeah.
weight it down.
Yeah,
That's not information that I've come across through all
Okay.
of my research and understanding with this, so I don't want to speak to it without knowing for sure.
okay.
I will comment about, so if you can go back to a previous slide. So in middle school and elementary school, there is a growth component because they take these tests year after year.
Gotcha.
When you get into high school, there's just a one-time
One-time,
test. So
yeah.
they remove the growth
I got you.
component at the high school level. And
Makes
then
sense.
obviously you don't have graduation at the elementary and middle. So that's a piece that's
Gotcha.
upon.
All right.
Russian.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thing. All right, so school by school, what I've done is taken our results data and sort of color coded it, matching the categories that we saw on the previous. Just this is a little more streamlined for my brain, and I hope
It
suits
helps me
yours.
as well.
Good,
We're good. Yep.
So you'll see the indicator score is calculated through VDOE, number of students who take the test, the weighting of advanced, pass below, pass well below. So you'll see there, you'll notice in every single one of the schools in Page County, the TS for EL progress means that it is too small. A subgroup has to have at least 15 students in it for that data to be included in our calculations.
Okay.
And it does not. So because our EL progress group under mastery is less than 15, the 10% weighting gets redistributed between the reading growth and the math growth. So that's how the state handles that. And at Luray Elementary School, they got a total framework score of 77.19, which puts them straightforward on the framework as off track. But because they have a subgroup, students with disabilities, and we're talking about 43 students in that building that tested. There's more than 43 students who are identified in that building, to be clear. But 43 students tested and performed under what the state has designated as their threshold. So that gets us a federal identification, which means that our whole level was bumped down to needs intensive support from off track. So straightforward, they're 3 points off the on track rating. But because of the way the system is designed, we got bumped down.
What, if I may, what impact does this have on budget?
It comes with the potential for some grant funding,
That's what I was.
and we're
okay,
working through that as a team right now.
Good, okay.
All right. So Shenandoah Elementary School, you can see their framework score. Their flat score was off by a little under 5 points. So they fell into if you're being straightforward, they fell into the off-track category. Again, we have the subgroup. For them, it was 29 students that in 3rd through 5th who sat for those tests that performed below the state threshold. So we have the TSI designation in that building as well, which bumped us down a full level to the needs intensive support for that school as well. And this is Shenandoah's first year with that designation.
Yeah.
All right. Springfield Elementary School, their framework score is 82.74. I have formulas in these. The state only carries out 1 decimal, and they do not. You'll see why I felt compelled to mention that on my next slide, because my feelings are still hurt over it. But they do not round up. So the state score you'll see for them is 82.7. But that puts them in on track. So Springfield Elementary is on track. Stanley does not have a federal designation. It did not have a subgroup that performed below that threshold. However, their total framework score, according to the state's, the way they carry, is 79.7. We're 0.3 of a point off from an on-track designation for Stanley Elementary School. And we knew, I think you've heard Dr. Aldifer say that, largely we know what we need to work on. We know the schools that are borderline. We know the schools that where we're going to land in improvement. And we had some concerns about Stanley, but this is really close. So they did not get bumped because they don't have that federal designation. All right, Luray Middle School, 88.3 is their total framework score. You can see the indicator points within there. And again, that EL is redistributed. So they are considered on track as well. Page County Middle School, 84.9%. So solidly on track in a straightforward sense, right? It's a testament to the work that Mrs. Miller and Ms. Hitt led at that school and the way they performed last year. However, they carry that ATSI designation, so they were bumped to off track. It does feel like you're getting kicked when you're
It
down.
does.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
it does.
So I see you shaking your head, and we've done a lot of that as we worked through this. Just when you're clawing your way out and doing everything you know how to do, and it still doesn't work, it's disheartening for sure. But Paige did a lot of work on that. All right, on to the high schools. You may have seen this in the media. Both schools received distinguished performance category designations. And really are doing a fantastic job. Luray High School is actually within Region 4, and we'll talk about this a little further on. Within Region 4, which we're competing with Alexandria, with Fairfax, with Loudoun County. Those are all in the region, and they have the second highest framework score within Region 4. So it's impressive.
That's super.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Page High School. Again, over 100 points, and they're distinguished as well. And Paige has some shout outs in the region as well. We'll get into those. All right, celebrations. So every single one of Page County Public Schools is fully accredited. And that accreditation piece, remember, is separate from the accountability side. So every school is fully accredited. Both our high schools earned category rankings of distinguished. As I mentioned, Luray High School is second in Region 4 for overall framework score. It's worth mentioning that Region 4 has the most distinguished schools of any region in the state, and we're still up there in the 2 spots. So that's a feather in their cap for sure. Page County High School ranked third in the Region 4 for mastery in math. Their performance in math ranked third among the region. And Page ranked first in the 3E category of employment in the region. Luray Middle School ranked second for growth in math performance. And the division as a whole, through the state reporting of all of this, got a shout out for our efforts in family engagement and reduction of chronic absenteeism. So some things to celebrate.
Just, if I could just stop right there. So on the accreditation, back in 2019, I believe we had 3 schools that weren't accredited. And that was Stanley Elementary, Page Middle, and Luray Elementary. And then 2 of those schools came up to accreditation. And now you're saying all schools are accredited.
Every school in Page County is fully accredited.
Okay, so Luray Elementary School has joined the ranks, which is what we put out there, which is, let's not miss that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not miss that, even though because when I saw those first things, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, would we go backwards? No, we haven't gone backwards. We just got a new way of looking at it, I guess.
It's tricky because it really is an apples to oranges comparison from what we're used to.
Yes.
But the accreditation piece is important.
Yeah. And I guess if you may not have it now because you're getting new information, but it would be nice to know in each of those schools, what are we doing? Maybe in one of our meetings, just to kind of, this is what we're focusing on, Chandler Elementary or Luray Elementary, whatever that is. But very, very good. I mean, this is pretty cool.
And the accreditation side of things is about the standards of quality and the standards of accreditation. Things like your program of studies, your graduation indicators, things like that. So a lot of that is a little more straightforward than it used to be.
Yeah.
The fact that they've so clearly separated out the accountability side and the accreditation side is pretty new. It wasn't always clear what got you where when it came to accreditation, and now it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So this is just some highlights from the document. I've gone over this information, but this is straight out of state released region summaries. And it's exactly what I mentioned. Luray in second place for the total framework score. Page High in the top 5 at number 3 for math mastery. Growth in math for Luray Middle in the second place spot. And then employment Page High at number 1 there in the region. And then this is the part where the entire division gets a shout out in that document. We're hosting family engagement events, rewarding students for coming to school regularly, access to care closets, some of the things that are really at the heart of what we do. All right, so the things that we have to tend to, right? So Stanley is in that off track by 0.3 of a point. But they do not have a federal designation. That's just something that our team and the administrators and instructional staff in that building will work together to work as hard as we can to prevent a repeat of being off track. They're certainly so borderline that we're super optimistic that they're going to overcome that moving forward.
We've identified what it is that we really need to focus on to get.
As we break down the data with each building, we're really looking, and it's just that overall score. So we'll look at what, comparing schools and how many points were possible versus how many points did you achieve, and how do we push further to push us over. So we have 2 schools with a federal identification of targeted support and improvement. You'll hear that most often referred to as simply TSI. And that's an annual designation. So that's Luray Elementary School and Shenandoah Elementary School. And the subgroup involved in that is students with disabilities. And I mentioned the population that's based on. It's not necessarily indicative of the whole school or of everyone who tested. It's a subgroup of students. And that doesn't mean we're not going to work hard to make improvements and help those students develop and grow. But I think that's an important piece of information. And one school has a federal designation of ATSI, that's Page County Middle School. And the ATSI designation is done every 3 years for schools that have persistently stayed in that TSI. If they have a subgroup that's underperforming and it's been a pattern over a few years, you end up with an ATSI designation. All right. So our response. In fact, this is accomplished number 1. We have met with every school administration and gone through not just the summary that I just presented, but the nitty gritty of the documents provided by the state and their performance. And we will be following up with them through our CSIP meetings to continue to tend to the work involved with the growth and improvement that we want to promote. Something that was already an emphasis for Page County Public Schools this year, you may have heard about it, is high quality tier 1 instruction, that instruction whole group, and making sure that we are delivering the highest quality instruction that we can. We say to staff in this building, and have since summertime, tier 2 is sort of small group teacher intervention, and tier 3 is more focused and specialized intervention, whether it's by a special educator or reading specialist. But the verbiage that we've used all year is you cannot tier 2 or tier 3 your way out of substandard tier 1 instruction. We're always going to get the most bang for our buck on promoting high quality instruction when we're instructing in the whole group. So that's been a focus for us since August, and prior to that as well, of course. But it will continue to be a focus for us this year. Ongoing use of supports. We have some new high quality instructional materials that are evidence-based this year, specifically for reading intervention. We're using a system called Spire with our reading specialists, and our special education teachers are using a system called Sunday System. Both of these are on the state approved lists and are evidence-based. There's science behind when used with fidelity. You can see some real growth. Specially designed instruction initiative. Again, Page Middle School really spent some time this summer digging in on that and promoting high quality pedagogy and planning and design along lessons. The fourth one, ongoing emphasis of the use of data to drive instruction, remediation, and intervention. Making sure that we're not just sort of shooting fish in a barrel, that we are focused. We identify the process, we identify the problem and we go straight after it. And whether that's an instructional problem or it's a deficit in a child or a group of children, and you're systematic and explicit in how you go after closing the gap for that child. And then finally, division team, we will be working with our federally identified schools through the improvement process that's mandated as part of that. And we will be weaving that in and revisiting CSIP plans to alter them as needed to match up with the problems that we're seeing and how we can move through and move forward. What questions can we answer for you?
So once the federal government has identified a school as an ATSI or an TSI, what resources or other capabilities do they offer to help?
So we're in the process. We've just over the past 2 days begun digging in on the grant application process for school improvement. There's and it's changing. Yesterday, when I was looking in the workbook associated with it, there was, I think it was $22,000 and change available for TSI schools, and $43,000 and change available, provided you provide the documentation and write the proposal for ATSI schools. That TSI number bumped up to over 30,000 as of today. So we're digging in on those improvement plans and applying for the support money through those grants to help push our instructional agenda.
Good, but we can certainly hope that they'll come up with more than $40,000. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket when you think about what needs to be done to move us up beyond the TSI or an ATSI.
Agreed. Our team at the central office level is also meeting to revisit some Title II grant funding to talk about professional development, again, to support our initiative around that Tier 1, quality Tier 1 instruction. So we have that already at our disposal.
Right.
We just need to regroup, rewrite some needs assessments, and I believe we'll file an addendum so that we can shift that money to focus on professional development to help us there.
Right. Well, good luck, Rapids. We're pulling for you. Always.
Any other questions?
Am I allowed to ask a question? If not, I'll shut up.
No, you're not.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, well, let's see. Your secondary,
Yeah.
yep. Program of studies.
Secondary program of studies. We came together as a instructional team with our middle and high school administrators and counseling teams to review and revise the program of studies to prepare it for 26-27. Student registration starts in February, March, so we, of course, need to have this well in hand to promote the success of that process. So I followed Ms. Clark's model and provided a document of changes so that we don't have to go page by page through a program of studies. So you'll see on this, I don't know if we can blow that up. Yeah, you'll see the first handful are adding new courses. So some of this is a response to legislation. You'll see that accelerated math, that policy was brought. There's a legislation requiring us to offer accelerated math at the middle school level. And we had some acceleration, but we met as a committee with administrators and math team members and decided to revamp that. So there's some additional courses there, a couple of math at the middle school, art classes, all this came up through committee. And then if you scroll down, there's some modifications, again, largely due to state mandates or changes at the state level. And then finally, the last part of it is some courses who have been that have been eliminated in our draft. So just presenting this as information with the hopes that I can seek approval at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so we're going to, our last informational 80.7 is going to be the District 4 applicants. And we have a list of questions that we're going to ask, and we're going to ask the candidates one by one to go up at the lectern. And the questions are going to be the same, and there may be some follow-ups if we feel it's necessary, depending on what the answers are. So this is an opportunity for the public and for our board and everyone else to listen and hear about this interview. So the first person up is going to be Brian Ortega. If you could come up to the podium, please.
And I put together a quick comment under 2 minutes. Am I able to?
You want to allow that?
Just
Okay,
2
we'll
minutes.
give you a quick comment for like an opening statement for 2 minutes.
Absolutely, yes. Good afternoon, or good evening, distinguished board members of Page County School Board. I'm here today to express my interest in being considered for appointment to the Page County School Board District 4 interim vacancy. As a father of Page County Public Schools, a longtime education and community leader, and a resident committed to the success of our local schools, I'd be honored to serve the students, families, and educators of Page County. My professional background spans more than a decade across K through 16 education, including direct experience with early childhood education, K-12, post-secondary pathways, workforce development, readiness. I've also supported education policy, program development, and student success initiatives at a local, state, and national level. Equally important to me is community engagement throughout my career. I've built trusted relationships with families, educators, community-based organizations, and I believe deeply that school functions best when families are respected partners as partners, and communication is transparent, and community voices are welcomed into the conversation. I've shown this by participating in the Watchdogs program in Stanley Elementary and serve as one of the DAC representatives. If appointed, I would approach this role with humility, collaboration, and a strong sense of stewardship. I am committed to listening carefully to educators, families, and community members, upholding the responsibilities outlined in the Code of Virginia, and working constructively with fellow board members and superintendents to advance the long-term interests of Page County Public Schools. Thank you for your considerations.
Very good, thank you. It was 1:30, by the way. Yeah. So,
Mine is the first question, and you addressed some of it, but specifically, the question was, what motivates you to serve on Page County School Board, and how do you believe your background prepares you to represent citizens of District 4?
Absolutely. So for me, my family and I moved from Chicago, so we've been here for a year and 5 months now. And I've been in the education space throughout my entire career with over 14 years of experience. I've worked out of school time learning as well as the K-12 sector. Prior to transitioning over to education policy, where I was working in Washington, D.C., I was serving in the largest K-12 charter school in Chicago, serving over 6,500 students. And so within that, I've worked in various roles, including partnership, charter renewal, supporting the finances and the programs. And so I am a big advocate as a father, want to make sure that my students and my children are successful. And within that, we're big on giving back to our community. And I'd love to be able to bring those skills that I've learned in my career and bring that to Page County Public Schools.
thank you.
All right. So, welcome. I have the next question. So your school boards have got to balance student needs, fiscal responsibility, and community expectations. So how would you approach making difficult decisions when these priorities conflict?
What I've learned in my career is transparency is the number one key when it comes to ensuring that you're able to deliver as smooth as possible of a communication in what you're trying to accomplish. And so for me, I've always learned that getting ahead of whatever's happening, good or bad, always coming forth and bringing that and being transparent with the families and the students that we serve. I've had the opportunity to collaborate and to engage with the Chicago Public Schools Board there, and I've worked with the leaders at the school levels in the charter spaces, and time and time again, when it comes to renewals or budgets or issues that are happening in the school spaces, accountability, you need to come clean and make sure that you're having that line of communication with your families and meeting them where they're at. I feel that Many times there's that level of disconnect when it comes between families and the administration. And families need to know that they have the right to come here to ask their questions. And if given the opportunity, I'd love to be able to bridge that gap.
Can we follow up with that?
Yes.
So can you give us an example of one of the more difficult situations you may have encountered in your past that reflects, again, the conflicts of financial responsibility and balance?
Absolutely. So prior to moving over to Page County, I was serving as the Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships for the Acero Schools, the charter school network. And I was tasked with leading the community engagement portion. The Chicago Public Schools boards wanted to know the areas of finance, discipline, academic achievement, and community engagement. And so in the areas of finance specifically, there were a few schools that were not in compliance. And so I worked collaboratively with my team in hosting town halls and presenting them to our families and letting them know this is the situation, this is where we're at, these are the reasons why, and giving those families the platform to come and to ask those questions.
Thank you.
How do you define the role of a school board member in relation to administrators, teachers, parents, and the public?
The board members are the leads in the sense. I'm a firm believer that when it comes to the success and the outcomes that are happening, it begins at the top. And a lot of the work and the success that we've seen tonight, while it's being done here with the administration here and the staff members and the educators as well, you all have put in your part, ensured that you guys are doing your best to give to the students and the families. And so being forward facing and being the leaders of that, that's what I think about when I think of being a school board member. But to be a leader, you need to be willing to serve. And so I know that you all being here tonight and on a monthly basis, you guys are serving our families with your time, with your energy. And that's something that I would very much like to come and give to our families. And so being a leader, but also being in service of the communities and the schools that we're leading.
Just remind me a little bit on your resume. Where are you serving in the schools right now?
In Stanley Elementary.
In Stanley Elementary?
Yes.
And what capacity? Watchdog?
The Watchdog.
Okay.
So the Dads of Great Students program. I've also served as the DAC representative. So I did that last year and this year. And then a funny but a really neat thing that I always like to share is I'm also a professional DJ. So I've DJed for
really?
Stanley
Okay.
Elementary Halloween events over there too. So I like to give back to our students and our families in whatever capacity. I also serve and support Cub Scout Pack 48, which a lot of the Stanley students are a part of. And so with it, I like to support and give back in that capacity.
Very good. Thank you. What do you see as the most pressing challenges facing Page County Public Schools, and what principles would guide your response to those challenges?
So coming here, I see a big opportunity when it comes to support services. I also have an extensive background in grant writing and fundraising, and though the roles that I've served in have not directly been big in those areas, like that has not been the key part of my job, I've always stepped into those roles and supporting that. And so I have worked in reaching out and applying to different grants. The biggest grant that I applied for when I was in Chicago for the Acero Schools network was upwards of $350,000 for continued out of school time support services in partnership with the YMCA of Chicago, where we were addressing student recovery initiatives post the pandemic. And because I had that relationship with the YMCA of Chicago, we were able to make a partnership. So one of the things that I long to see here for the school districts is that school partnership and community partnership aspect, and figuring out ways in which we can support our families and our students. Because something that I've learned in my career is that students and families cannot be academically successful if they're worrying about the day-to-day things in life. And so if we're able to find those areas and opportunities to support them, whether it's out of school time learning, a food bank or what have you, if we can put in those metrics in place to support our families, I believe that we will see the outcome in our students academically.
Okay, thank you. Last question. Describe a time when you had to work with people who strongly disagreed with you. How did you handle the situation? And what did you learn that would help you serve effectively on this board?
Sure. So not to bore you guys with the politics of Chicago, but the Chicago Public School Board is not the fondest of charter schools. And so stepping into that role, when I first started working for the Acero Charter Schools Network, they had just rebranded because there was some controversy that happened with the previous network. Being in the forward-facing role that I was in community partnerships and engagement, there was a lot of mindsets and different perspectives that they had about our network. But in the end, when I left that role, we went from having about 13 partnerships to over 87 state and local community partnerships that consisted of corporate, nonprofit, and other community organizations. And the way that I was able to go about that controversy and that mindset that people had about the network was showing up, being there, having those conversations, having those difficult conversations. I would meet with our aldermen, we like to call them in Chicago, speaking with them who were not in favor of our schools in their communities. But in the end, I was able to turn a couple of those in our favor. And so that I would say was the most fun experience that I had.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have any other questions?
I'm just thinking it could be useful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mr. Ortega, thank you for your time and coming here tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate
Yes.
you all too. And I made copies of my resume if you all would like.
We have them.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we do.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, Mr. Jason Breeden. We'll give you 2 minutes if you want them, or we'll go straight into the questions. You let us know.
No, I think most of y'all know me, so
Yeah.
I'll let you go into.
Questions? Okay, perfect.
All right, I'm going to ask the same question I asked before. What motivates you to serve on Page County School Board? And how do you believe your background prepares you to represent the citizens of District 4?
Well, I've served on the board before, and the desire to do so is to always help the community and help students always achieve what they can. I've worked in the school system for many years prior. I've since retired. I just do a business now, and I stay in my own little corner of the world like a turtle. And but with my background, I've done, I've touched every aspect of the school system that you can, except for being superintendent. So there's nothing in the school system I haven't done or haven't touched. I worked for the Department of Education, worked in the Office of School Improvement, which they've changed their name now, but I was a division level support coordinator. I helped all those schools that were not fully accredited, helped them to get fully accredited through the state. So, like I said, I've done a lot of different things in education.
All right, thank you. Okay, school boards must balance student needs, fiscal responsibility, and community expectations. How would you approach making difficult decisions when these priorities are in conflict?
Sometimes they're always in conflict. You just have to do the best based on priorities that the division has. Obviously, you can't do things that you don't have money for. You can apply for grants and other things to help you get there. So it's a delicate balance between all of them. The best thing you can do is always just listen as a board member to the community, to staff, to students. Hopefully students speak up on their behalf. Some will, some don't. And then balance where the greatest need with given the administration that tells you the greatest need and what they believe would be the most beneficial for the school system. Because the board, technically their two roles is governance and financial responsibilities as passing the budget. That's the main thing that the board oversees. The rest is done by the administration. And one of the greatest things that the school board does is hires a superintendent that manages the school system. So basically just following policy and following up through budget and making sure all of that's on track.
Fair enough, thank you.
How do you define the role of a school board member in relation to administrators, teachers, parents, and the public?
Sort of just touched on that. It is a different role as a board member because you're dealing with policy, you're doing financial, and you're dealing with the top administration and school division that actually run the school division. So the board is just watching the budget. The board is watching how the policies are administered throughout the division, through the superintendent and the rest of the staff, and then taking concerns from the public and knowing, based on policy and based on what the mission of the school system is how you have to handle that as a group, not as an individual, but as a group with the top level administration.
What do you see as the most pressing challenges facing Page County Public Schools, and what principles would guide your response to those challenges?
I think from tonight's presentation with some of the target assistance with the schools, it's great that all of them fully accredited. Unfortunately, it seems like that ball is always bouncing in different courts. So once you get one system down, they seem to change it, and then the ball moves to a different court. So I think the greatest challenge is meeting to the new standards that they've set out there, that the ball keeps moving. You just have to keep chasing that ball.
Yeah. Describe a time when you had to work with people who you strongly disagreed with or disagreed with you, and how did you handle the situation, and what did you learn that would help you serve effectively on the board?
Well, I say being chair of the board, many things happened. One particular school board member had issues with some things that I said, but you always have to remain calm, collected, and deal with it very professional. You can't overreact about something that can be solved. So it's difficult. And then the other issues with coming back out of COVID, all the parents with the different theories that they've read on Facebook, got on Facebook about installing urinals in the girls' bathroom, just different things like that. And you just have to be patient with parents and community, let them express their concern, and then try to explain the truth behind what it really is, not what was out on Facebook or out in the community by playing telephone.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Freeman? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Now, the next person, it says Dennis Coleman, but I think we know him by Frankie Coleman. So, Mr. Frankie Coleman, would you, and you got 2 minutes if you would like to do an introduction and go straight into the questions.
Okay, my name is Frankie Coleman. I'm an ordained minister in Page County. I've worked with youth and young people in sports and athletics. I've been very involved in the county, and I'm married to Candace Coleman, which is the music director at Blue Ray Middle School. I tease her with Paige, but you know, the one thing that I am is, when I tell people that if I hadn't accepted Christ at 27, I would be dead or in jail, I mean that. That is straight up the truth. I had a rough life. I made a lot of mistakes. I've been locked up. I've done a lot of bad things, but that's been a driving force for me to develop mentoring programs throughout the county and work with different organizations, because my passion is young people. My passion is to see, because I believe every young person can succeed. They just need the right motivation. And also, my honesty is one reason that, you know, I'm a custodian at the Luray Middle School, is people come to me and talk to me because they know that I'm a straight shooter. What I tell them is the way I see it, and I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to relate, because when you grow up in the streets, you learn community. And community is what helps you survive. So I want to give back. So, you know, I haven't always been an angel. I have had some rough times in my life. I've been shot, stabbed, and everything else. But I use that to talk to young people, because that is my passion. because I really do believe every young person has the opportunity to make it. All they need is that right support. So, does that have anything to do with the school board? Yeah, because y'all got kids in it. So go ahead. Like I said, I'm a straight shooter.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Well, I've got the first question. You've heard the question a couple of times now. And I think you did a pretty good job of answering it. The question was, what motivates you to serve on Page County School Board? And how do you believe your background prepares you to represent the citizens of District 4?
Well, see, my background is because I've been involved in the school system. I've been in the schools. I've been a custodian. I listen to the teachers. I'm allowed to talk to the students. So my background is I do have a passion to succeed, and my biggest quality is I do listen. And I realize that we don't live in a perfect world. There are some people that's going to do without, but we have to present them the best solution that we have at our disposal. So, I mean, my biggest quality is I listen.
That is a good quality. Thank you.
And I'm not afraid to make a decision either. I'm not. The different organizations that I've worked with throughout my career, I guess it'd be career in Page County, is, I want to be productive. And whatever I do, if I can't be productive with that organization, I belong to some groups here in the county now, then I'll step out of the way and let somebody else do it. Because you got to listen and you got to be productive.
So, as you know, school boards must balance student needs.
Mm-hmm.
You got to deal with the fiscal responsibility and community expectations. So how would you approach making difficult decisions when these three priorities are in conflict?
Well, see, I sit on boards of several organizations. And I'm 70 years old and I've been giving back since I was 30, so 40 years. I've often believed in being an advocate. If you're in a position sitting in that chair, you're an advocate for everybody. You're not going to make everybody happy. You're not going to make a decision that's going to please everybody, but you've got to make the best decision. And the reality is, again, it comes down to money. We can have all these programs, we can have all these accreditations. If the money's not there to fund it, then what do you do? You can have all the pipe dreams you want. You can have all the goals you want. But if you don't have the finances, then guess what? And, I'm not one to dance around a thing. Too many times you have to put politics in it. When you don't know, you don't have the funding, but you try to ease the I believe in just being truthful with people. If they're going to get upset, they're going to get upset.
Good policy. Thank you.
How do you define the role of a school board member in relation to administrators, teachers, parents, and the public?
It goes back to being an advocate. I mean, if you're in a position of leadership, you got to listen. I was a project manager at Wallace. And one of the things that made me successful, when you walked in my office, there was a sign on my office, you don't work for me, you work with me. And when I was developing a business form or doing something with Wallace, everybody from the paper handler to the janitor, to the stock handler, to the operator, to the helper, everybody from anywhere from the salesman for Wallace, the salesman, to the customer themselves or the CEO, everybody, I kept everybody informed. Some people wondered why, because I believe if you're doing a project, if you're doing something, whoever you're working with, you've got to keep them informed.
All right, what do you see as the most pressing challenges facing Page County Public Schools? And what principles would guide your response to these challenges?
Okay, I'm going to be straight. I've talked about the money issues. I believe supporting the teachers because this is my stance on education. 25% of the education responsibility is that of the teacher to relay the information that they learn in college. 25% of the responsibility of a child's education belongs to the parents to support the teacher. As I've told many parents through many years, there's no teacher in this county that has it in for your student. You need your kids are kids. Kids aren't always going to be honest with their parents. You need to support the teacher in supporting your child. And then 50% of the education belongs to the student, because I see many students using excuses of not doing the work. They have some reason not doing the work. So I believe that we need to find ways to be supportive of the educational system. You know, as a leader, and again, I've listened. You know, I'm not in a position to do anything, but I do listen. I do give advice. I think as a school board member, it starts with the educational part. We've got to focus on the education. We're doing a good job in getting schools accredited. We need to, whatever's working, continue to work. Whatever isn't working, at least have enough honesty to say, okay, we need to focus on this. But I like to see more teacher support.
Okay. Describe a time when you had to work with people who strongly disagreed with you, and how did you handle the situation, and what did you learn that would help you serve effectively on this board?
No joke. When I first heard this, my mind was running from the time of, well, I was self-employed and I worked with some jerks. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I developed movie sets. I did a lot of high-end landscaping. I did work over at the Boar's Head Inn, and then even with the school, you know, it's just like, but I guess the thing that I would use would be when we were, I'm gonna go back to Wallace. We were developing the FedEx shipping link. FedEx was a very strict run company. And we had, the conference room was set up like this with another table. Everybody wanted the big old attaboy. Everybody, it was just like, oh my Lord, they were arguing. They couldn't make up what they wanted. I mean, it was just chaos. We were in there for 3 hours of chaos. Everybody wanted to be right. Nobody wanted to work together. So what I did, again, I'm not afraid to make a decision. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I went off to myself. I developed the form. I did the whole process. I did not put my name on the they call it a platform. Did something. I went ahead. I had the form design. I had the pricing for the die to cut the shipping label. I had the ink ordered. I had the paper. I had everything done according to that job. I handed it to the plant manager. He looked at it. He presented it to the salesman. He got the attaboy. I didn't care. The job was done. I went fishing that evening. So, I mean, it's about getting the job done. So that's what it was. It was 4 hours of chaos, and it was just, I can't do this no more. I want to go fishing. Yeah. So I went in and did everything, developed the label, turned it in. The plant manager put his name on it. Everybody was happy. I went home.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll go to our action items. Claims for payment.
Yes, thank you, board members. You have been provided with the claim certification for January 8th, 2026, for the total operating fund expenditures are $321,886.92. Fund 5 food service, $49,334.90, for a total of $371,221.82. And with this, you have been provided with a list of claims and check registers. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Can you go back to the slide? There you go. We're doing a lot of people's transportation. That's the buses, right? And then everything else. What is that? What's that include?
Oh, well.
That's our entire bus network.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be.
Sure. Gotcha. It's also our vans that go out to cross the mountain. And everything else. Okay.
We'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yeah.
Second.
No.
No, somebody's got to make it.
I make a motion that we approve the claims for payment.
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion and a second?
Mr. Overbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Bogdan?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr.
Yes. All right, VSBA policy updates, Ms. Clark.
Good evening again, board. Last month, we brought forward several policies that just need minor word changing and some consolidations and removal. We're asking for action.
I make a motion, we approve the VSBA policy updates as provided.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
Mr. Bogdan?
Yes.
Mr. Overbaugh?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Yes.
Yes. And number 9.03, approval, we have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the school board attorney to file the necessary pleadings in Page County Circuit Court to schedule special elections for the vacancies on the school board this November.
Second.
All right, you got a motion and a second, Ms. Bryant?
Mr. Overbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Bogdan?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Yes.
Yes. Okay, our board comment period, we'll start here and just work our way around. It's okay? You're free to say what you
Almost
want. Yeah, almost anything.
That's good, because I had anything ready to go. Well, this, of course, remains on the educational slope for me, and I appreciate that. I do have a suggestion that if a meeting's going to take a long period of time, like several hours, that there be a designated break with maybe something like water available.
Oh, yeah.
Good idea.
We used to say, after 45 minutes, mine start shutting down.
Oh, is 45 minutes your time frame?
Well, that's what I used to use
Yeah.
for gauge. You'd go to an hour, but you'd
Yeah,
say 45.
All right.
That's it? Okay. Well, I'm going to take the opportunity to welcome you to the board.
Yes.
Congratulations, and glad to have you on board for District 1. The other thing I wanted to say, I miss our student reps. There's
Illness. Yeah, yeah.
Holy mackerel. Okay. Well, anyway, I hope they get well. I hope they are well tomorrow. They get done by the weekend. I also wanted to say it was really a pleasure to have the young students come in here so that we can recognize them, and I hope we continue to do that. It's really special for them. I know. You just look at the smile on their face. I mean,
Yeah, it's
kidding
great.
me? That was pretty cool. That was very, very cool. So the other thing I wanted to mention is based on the new nutritional guidelines that just come out from the government, I think from my perspective, I think it merits for us that we should revisit our nutritional program and take a good look at what we're doing as far as our food program and whether or not we're able to or maybe thinking about getting in line with the new food balance triad, which is really upside down from where it used to be. Now it's meats and vegetables on the top, and brands are down at the very bottom, where it's very interesting. But I think that's and also the recommendations coming out of children needing higher degree of protein in their meals. So I think looking at our nutritional program is merited. And I just got to give a shout out to the schools, the principals, the staffs. All the hard work that we have done on absenteeism has really paid off. I mean, you guys should pat yourself on the back. 27% reduction in absenteeism. I think that's the number I saw. That's fantastic. And that's what keeps our numbers going up. I mean, keeping the kids in school. To Frankie's point, we got to keep the kids in school, or else we can't educate them. So I really think that's a magnificent thing that is ongoing. I also wanted to welcome Mr. Painter as our new chairman. I don't think we haven't done that, so I'm taking the opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on board. And our new vice chair.
Yes.
If I could just go around the horn here, Ms. Bryant, congratulations. No, you're going to do a great job. We're glad to have you. So anyway, that's all I've got. But good to be here. Happy New Year to everybody. we've got a busy year. We got a lot on our plate. And I hope that the community just bears with us and works with us. And we're going to be transparent. Help you out. Tell you what's going on.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Painter, for taking the chair seat. Glad that you stepped up to do that. And Mr. Bodowich, thank you for your service as well to the community. We're happy to have you aboard. For Hazel, Maggie, Jamesy, and Peyton, incredible leadership skills, but also you can see that they all exude high emotional intelligence. It's a beautiful thing to see at such a young age, and they're going to really tap in and be able to help the children around them. I want to congratulate their parents for that too. That's a beautiful sight to see. Ms. Hamill, I know that the goalposts continue to move, but you've done a very good job helping us to understand what the new order is, and thank you for doing that. But I think that you have it in there. Of course, it's a big deal to recognize that Region 4 serves 19 divisions. That's over 400,000 students. So when we're talking about Page and Luray, it's tremendous. Look at that number, just to say Region 4, put it in perspective, okay? That's huge. So congratulations and thank you to everyone, but especially Page High School and Luray High School. I mean, you guys are hitting the target, and it is obviously very noticeable. Continue to do that work. And I would like to thank Mr. Ortega, Mr. Breeden, and Mr. Coleman for coming out tonight and wanting and willing to serve the community. It is truly a service, and just to know that there are people who are interested and their heart's desire is in the right place, and it's appreciated. Thank you all.
Yes.
Can I? Mind if I
Yeah, please.
alibi?
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted to dovetail on your comment about where we stand in accreditation in the division. And let's put it in perspective. When you look at, I think it's Arlington Public Schools they have a budget of $3.2 billion. I'm pretty sure that's right. And we've got, 46 million?
Mm-hmm.
So put that in perspective. And we're right in there, and we're ahead of some of those guys. We just got to beat Shenandoah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, again, thanks for serving. And I don't know, in our organizational meeting, Mr. Overfeld and Renee, they actually arm wrestled for the job. Just kidding.
Renee lost.
Who lost, right?
No, again, I had to shave.
With that said, a shout out to the three gentlemen who want to serve at District 4. A lot of times you get these positions, nobody wants them. But we got three that want to help out, so I'm happy with that. One of the things about the election, the write-ins, one of the reasons I ran was I didn't want just anybody like Mickey Mouse or somebody to get it, right? And it was interesting when I was talking to the registrar, actually you would have been the second person. You would have been the chair because of the write-ins. They put your write-in, your name in the wrong place. So
I won in District 12, right? I thought that was kind of
just a little, District 4, you could have represented everything. But that's just interesting little tidbit information. We're hoping to announce on the January 22nd meeting who is going to fill that position. Also, I was at Page County Middle School today, and whoever brought Miss Riggleman in, who did that? Was that you, or was that Brigman? I'm sorry, Brigman. Oh. Yeah, Miss Brigman. Yeah. Was that you? She has networked with different organizations and brought people into that school to help our children. And that's the kind of thing that is kind of neat, that things that she's talked about. She was so energetic about it. And the mentorship, which is what you helped start, I saw probably 15 folders in that cubby at that school. I thought that was very, and the energy that's with that, it's a very, very good thing. The accreditation, we should be celebrating at Luray Elementary.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because we said we're 7 out of 8, you know, and we was like, "Yeah, get 8 out of 8. And we've done that. That's a great thing. In the past month or past couple of weeks, we had one visit in January, but most of them were in December. Bucky Thomas, the new chair of the board of supervisors, visited with myself and Dr. Johnson and Megan. So we had the outgoing chair and incoming chair and Mr. Thomas there for the board of supervisors. And he was so complimentary of how organized things were. Sometimes they probably don't feel organized, and how well behaved the children were. So every time I walked into the next building, I'm like, well, you got a good reputation so far. I hope your kids don't ruin it for you. But he did a great job with it. And I think that speaks to the level of support that I think we're going to have between the two boards. I know, Mr. Overfeld, you've done a lot of inroads with that, with a lot of those members. And I'm looking forward to some of those things. I'm questioning, so the Shandor Elementary and all the student recognitions, is that read before the school on announcements as well for the kids? Okay, all right, good. I want to make sure that they got recognized at the school level as well for that. Thank you so much. And I look forward to this year. I mean, I think we've got a lot in front of us, and I think we're going to meet the challenge like we always have. So thank you for that, everybody. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.